I always knew that I would be a part of this theater business. Growing up, I loved old black and white movies and TV shows. Some of you remember Superman or Batman. Well, I wanted to be one of them. Yes, this little black girl wanted to be a man in a cape. No, not really. What I really wanted was their superpower. I wanted the power to make a difference in the world. So 18 years ago, I vowed to do just that. I walked into this box, not a phone booth like Superman, but a theater, and I never left. I found the power I needed. Using the power within that box, I knew lives could be forever changed through the power of theater, the telling of stories. That little black box became whatever I wanted and needed it to be. I could roll around on the floor, I could laugh, cry, yell, scream, shout, jump up, somewhat like my middle school students in my theater classroom that I teach. Through all that activity and play, I saw something. I saw people connecting and sharing who otherwise would never meet. I saw these light bulb moments where actors and audience members were able to take a walk in someone else's shoes. I knew then that the stories could break down, jump over walls. When I first started in my early stages, I thought if I put together this group, we put on a play, that would be enough. And for a while it was. People loved being entertained by actors singing and dancing, and boy meets girl, and it all ends happily ever after. And that was okay. But for theater to be a fiber of a community, to be a vehicle to initiate dialogue and change, a transformative experience, there had to be more than just pure entertainment. I didn't want people to just feel an emotion for a moment. I wanted them to carry something from that process, from that journey of creating. A complete change on how they view this communal gathering. I knew I was on to something, and I believed that everyone else would get it. The moment I took a bold step and decided to produce works that were about the human condition, real world concerns, poverty, homelessness, enthusiasm seemed to drop. A few years ago, I directed a series of one-acts. They were about the racial inequalities during the mid-20th century. I had a wonderful group of actors, nice script, opening night, 3 people in the audience. I wondered why, and it took me a little while to figure it out, but then I realized not everyone wants to sit and listen to things that make them uncomfortable. Audiences have been so programmed to that fourth wall. It is them. I'm just a spectator. But when that story reaches over that wall, it jumps over that wall. We're a part of the story. We squirm. Seeing ourselves reflected back from that stage makes us a part of that human condition. Good or bad, it makes us feel. It motivates us, makes us laugh, cry, and it steers us to ask some difficult questions about what we believe or what we've been taught to believe. Writer Chris Thorpe expresses, quote, "We mustn't be afraid to shy away from the difficult conversations or the darker side of human nature. It is the life and the world around us, but we must walk bravely towards it if we want to experience something truly engaging," unquote. You are front and center of a production of 12 Years a Slave. Master Epps raises the whip and strikes the back of the slave girl Patsy until her flesh opens up and the blood drips, and she screams because the pain is so unbearable. The screaming stops. Patsy is numb. You now have a direct connection to that violent part of history through the eyes of the actress. You can't unsee it or unhear the screams because live theater puts a face to that horrific event. You are no longer just a spectator, but a part of the story. You cannot hide behind that fourth wall. Theater is a reflection of the human condition, a series of experiences. The same feeling you get when you watch a scary movie or you take a daring ride at a theme park is the same emotion you feel when you are challenged by theatrical events. Why? Because they are physical. They make us feel alive. And those experiences lead us to deeper conversations. I had the opportunity to direct the Tony-nominated play Eclipsed. Eclipsed is a play about 4 young women being held captive during the 2003 Liberian Civil War. You've heard the stories. You may have read an article or two, but you need to sit surrounded in darkness for 2 hours with a light focused on these young women. And you hear their stories of pain, torture, abuse. Now those stories have faces and voices. And those faces and voices represent hundreds of women missing or enslaved in your country, your city, your community. You can't unsee that. What do? You need to do something. I found there is something cathartic or healing about being in a room of strangers and crying together and nodding your head yes. A new bond is formed within that little box, a new community. That community will never view theater as merely entertainment. My perspective of theater changed the moment I allowed myself to embody and empathize with those characters, sometimes reflections of myself. Theater resonates and reaches the very core of what it means to be human. Theater that makes you feel stays with you. So where do you go? Now, I'm not insisting that you all become actors or directors or even join a theater troupe. But we are all a part of this thing called life. And we are designed to contribute and make it better for the next generation. That scream you can't unhear, or that whip across the back of another human being you can't unsee, because there are no more walls. You jumped over that wall the moment you bought your ticket, took your seat. The show is ended. The curtain closes. The lights come up. You exit the theater. You were made uncomfortable. I want you to take that discomfort and share it with your family, your friends, or anyone else who will listen. Then ask yourself, why did I feel that way? Was the reality too much? What can I do? I urge you to find a way within your community to be a part of a solution. Volunteer. Start a campaign to end homelessness or violence. Whatever little spark you can light. Theater can help kindle that spark. Because it's no longer them, but all of us. Thank you.